Hello, my viewer. This is Wiseman Corner. Thank you for considering watching our channel. If you haven't subscribed, I request you to consider subscribing and liking this video, and you are free to share the video. Our goal here is to inspire, encourage, and give hope, even if to one person. Today I want to remind somebody that you don't need a godfather. You have a God who is a father. You don't need a godfather. You have a God who is a caring father. And this, I share it from my own personal walk of life, my own story, from not able to pay the final exam fee for elementary school to having two professions. The journey of grace. When I was in grade 7, my dad and my mom got retrenched. At grade 8, when I was about to do the final elementary school exam, we could not even afford to pay the final exam fee. My headmaster pulled me out and told me, if you don't bring the fee today, you risk not to even finish elementary school. I walked home crying. My dad and my mom were able to get the money, and me and my brother, we were able to sit for the elementary school exam. After that, we finished school and we were both invited to two different schools. I was supposed to join one provincial school, and my dad, in his own idea, thought he could take us to one school so that the principal could be able to understand the burden he was carrying. When my dad went to the school I was invited, a friend of our home saw my dad, then came to our home area and said, we shouldn't be taken to that school so that when we lack fees, yes, you get that right, when we lack fees, the person be advocating for us. So at that age, I needed a godfather, according to that person, to be able to finish school. I remember walking to my mom in kitchen and told my mom, I don't need a godfather. I have a God who is a father. The next thing, the whole of term 1 for form 1, I went to practice to raise money to go to school. Later on second term, I would join a retro known, just started secondary school that had been started 4 years ago. No history, no lab, no library, and just countable teachers provided by the government. The first time I touched a microscope was when I was moved to another school in Form 3. To be able to continue being in school, we had to start a business of selling bread or distributing bread, which I would participate in from 4 a.m. to almost 7 a.m. before heading to school. When I finished, let me jump the story part of the story there. I will discuss it another time. I was moved to another school at Form 3, which had a history of decades, where people believed nobody could make it to campus, could make it to university through joint admission board. But I remember one teacher saying, I have a vision that one day application form for joint admission board, application for university will be filled. And I said in my heart, as long as God lives, if those forms will ever be filled, the name of the bread seller will be in those forms. After Form 4, by God's grace, 3 people out of 110 candidates qualified to join university. But it was hard to get a course in healthcare because of competition. I chose to look for a scholarship, and we had got a scholarship in Australia, but it needed a bank statement of 1 million, which we could not afford. My dad approached somebody who initially agreed would give us the bank statement. But after sharing that story with another person, the person was advised that if he risked giving us the bank statement, I'm talking about a paper, not the money, just a document saying that this person had 1 million, he risked to be asked to cater for cost to bring me back if I ever got deported from Australia. And the person declined to give us the bank statement. Just a paper saying I have this money, not the money. And that's how I never went to study healthcare in Australia. I will later apply for admission through Kenya Medical Training College for healthcare course. The day I went to apply for that course, I found the cost of application had changed with 500, and I had to walk from Upper Hill to Muthaiga because the fare I was left with could not take me home. When I was given the admission letter, because I got an admission letter without knowing anybody, just God and praying, we could not have the money. And I ended up joining university for a different course. When I got there, I tried to change course to nursing, but all the slots were full. So I ended up getting stuck for the course I was invited. When I finished my graduate education, my bachelor's, after getting a job, I tried to go to different schools that were offering healthcare to see if I could study part-time. And I was told you cannot be a full-time employee and a part-time student of healthcare courses. You have to be full-time. One day, I went to stage and I found there was no vehicles to go home. And because I had to figure out my own private means to go home, I decided to loiter around that town just to get the day rate so that I don't feel the pain of going home with private means. When I was loitering, I met a sign that was asking, "Do you wanna immigrate?" I went in, but to my heartbreak, the lady inside there, she was a young lady with a turban, told me there was no internet. But after looking at me, she said, "But you can fill this form, pay me 200 shillings, that's $2, and I'll fill the application for you at night, even if it's midnight." And I left the form with the lady. But this was the day when God gave me a chance to have a second place to call home, a chance to be able to travel abroad, where I would do my first basic healthcare related course, which is hand washing. And since then, my journey to a second profession, which was my passion, started. What I just wanted to encourage somebody, if you have a vision, hold on to it. Give it to God. Pray about it. represent it. You may not have a godfather. You may not be knowing somebody in high places, somebody in a certain background. You may not have status or background or connection, but there is a God in heaven who makes the greatest connection, even in the worst rejection. And that God is a father. You are a seed in God's heart. The best thing about God, He knows the size of the harvest even when the seed is still in the barn, even before the seed is planted. When I was struggling through all that part of life, God knew where this journey will come. God knew that one day I would know how to use this thing. God knew that one day I'll have two professions. God knew that one day I'll sit here to encourage somebody. And if you forget anything from all this, I wish to remind you again, you don't need a godfather. You have a God who is a father. And let me clarify. Respect every connection, respect every relationship that God grant you. Regardless how humble it looks, respect it. God blesses people through other people. They are destiny connectors. Destiny connectors help you, but they are not looking to be worshipped. They are not looking forward to be seen as the God or goddesses that made you succeed in life. They are just there as a bridge, as a connection to your destiny. Godfathers want to be worshipped, want to be bribed. That's the difference. And you don't need those godfathers. There is a God in heaven who cares. There is a God in heaven who doesn't need to be bribed and who knows your status and your condition. When I needed to leave my country to go outside, nobody asked me for bank statement. Nobody, and I tell you that. I never had the money. I never had $1 million. I never went to Australia. I never joined Kenya Medical Training College. But God did not forget that I still had a passion and a desire to take care of patients. Thank you and have a nice